Rick, you ready for the last one?
Yes, sir.
Great. The title of this one is called It's Not Denial, It's Wisdom. And my thinking of that is, if, just speaking for myself, for the longest time, I allow a lot of things to bother me, a lot of things to bother me. And you name it, going through a breakup, something happening in the workplace, the weather not being what I think it should be, a delayed flight, whatever's happening politically or socially in the country, it would really, really bother me. And when other people were peaceful about it, I was like, they're in denial about what's going on. Not so fast, Mr. I know everything and I'm always right. Not so fast, slow down. And after observing these people who are really peaceful and do a lot of good with what they contribute to their neighbors and to humanity, is that they're actually pretty wise. They understand just because it's a mess or there are challenges going on the outside, that there doesn't have to be a mess going on in the inside. And if there's action to take, they take the action. So it's not about denial. They're not denying anything. They're accepting the reality of the situation. They're choosing not to let them affect them inside in terms of being a disturbance inside. And if they need to take action, they're doing so peacefully. Now that's called wisdom. And so I'm trying to live my life exactly like that now. And it can
Mm.
be the smallest things. Most recently, I had a delivery from this one company for some gym equipment, and it was supposed to be delivered one day. So I was working from the studio for an entire day. This is a small example for the entire day. On three of the four occasions on the delivery, they said they couldn't find the place and the package was not delivered that day or the next day. And I could have been up in arms about it. But so why would I make that a mess inside? Instead, I called and guess what I did? I drove across town to the FedEx location, the package myself, right? It wasn't that I denied that the package wasn't delivered as had been communicated. It was that I wasn't going to allow that to be a disturbance inside. And so I think that's called wisdom. And you can take that and apply it to any number of things. What are your thoughts, Rick?
Well, I think first we need to clarify what denial is compared to what you're talking about, which is a recognition of reality and then
Yes.
accepting the reality and then taking action or being comfortable with whatever the reality is. So denial to me means you're denying the circumstances that are confronting you is actually existing. It's like putting your head in the sand. When you're denying, you're saying, "Oh, that can't happen. It's not right. It's not going to really affect me because I deny that it's even occurring." That's different than what you're talking about. What you're talking about is being very well aware of the fact that there's a problem, that the stuff wasn't delivered, for example. But it doesn't mean that you're going to fly off the handle, which is the way we used to be, or that we're going to say, "Oh no, that can't be." So we're talking about something completely different. And the reason why I think it's important to and wise to act in the way that you described is because when you get right down to it, the reason why we suffer is because we have expectations of something being the way we want it to be. So to the extent that you were irritated by your not getting the gym equipment in the way that it should have come, you are going to suffer, right? You're going to have this queasiness, this feeling like they're disrespecting me. How could this happen? I paid for it. All of those rational things that average people, that normal people think about. But if you were to tweak that a tad and say, I'm not going to cause myself any more suffering than this obstacle that's in front of me. So I'm going to let go of those expectations. And I'm just simply going to focus on solving the problem, which is driving across town for FedEx. Now, you don't do that in a way where you get into the car and you turn on the engine and you speed and you cut people off because, by God, you were wronged and you're going to take it to the next level. You're still suffering. You're
So,
still suffering. So the idea is it's not denying reality. It's accepting the negative circumstance that flows into your life and simply accepting it, acknowledging it. And if you have a moment that makes it, bad, good, that's fine, but just get off it. Because the longer you stay in suffering, the more suffering is going to be there, and it geometrically expands. The more you think about how you suffered, how you've been wrong, the more suffering. So if you can get rid of the expectation that reality be a certain way and conform to how you want things to be, and you can accept whatever occurred, do whatever is required to remedy it, and if there's nothing you can do, you let it go. To the extent you can do those things, I think that's wise. Why isn't it better not to suffer than to suffer?
Absolutely.
And if you have the control over it, you always are able to make that choice. In other words, people think that you made me do something. Because this happened, I have to react in a certain way. Total nonsense. You always have the choice of how you want to react. You can react in a way that's acting out and foolish to other people, or that causes you more suffering, or you can say, okay, let it go. That's happened. That's life. Next problem. Hard to do. I don't mean to be flip about this. It's difficult. It takes practice and awareness. Practice and awareness. And just realize that what you're doing by accepting is causing yourself less suffering. You're not increasing the burden upon yourself by going through all of this crap about how terrible it was and it shouldn't have happened and you made me. Oh my God, get rid of that.
Rick, I totally agree. And from that trivial example of FedEx all the way to going through a breakup, for some people, it might be a divorce, could be some changes in your job or employment. As you mentioned, there's a choice. You can be in denial as you define it, and I agree with that definition, or you can be wise about it. The choice you make will become the story of your life, period. And it's up to you. Rick, thank you for a nice little short show. I appreciate you and I love you.
I love you, Keith. Thank you for including me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.